Hello guys, you are watching Law Hai. We'll be talking about how to master Beer Act or how to prepare Beer Act for judiciary examination or how to take Beer Acts in your fingertips. Now there are certain things which we'll be discussing uh, and among them are we'll be discussing about aptitude. We'll be discussing about the subject matter. We'll be discussing about few 2-3 examples. Then we'll be discussing about provisions. We'll also be discussing about how you can what strategy you can use to prepare your Bear Act. Plus, uh, as I said, that you will never forget the Bear Act if you have followed this strategy. Now, whatever I will be saying, I will be providing it in the description box so that you can refer it whenever you want, and I will also be providing the timestamps in this particular video. Now, let's get started. So, we'll be talking about aptitude. As I said, what is aptitude? Now, when we talk about aptitude, just like you are reading a novel, when you read a novel, whenever you read a particular book, let's say novel, you have an interest, you have the curiosity that what this novel is about, what this particular book is about. Then what happens? Then you started looking at the front page, at the last page of the book cover. Then you look at the content. So similar you have to do here. You have to look at the front page, at the last page, and then you have to look at the content page, and then you have to look at these things with a very curious manner that you really want to know about this Bear Act and you have an interest about this particular Bear Act. Now, second thing I would like to talk about is the subject matter. Now, whenever you read a particular book, here in this case the Bear Act, you should have that particular interest in the subject matter. Let's say we'll be talking about like Indian Contract Act of 1872. So this is a Bear Act which is almost useful to every law student, especially in first year. And even if you are not in a first year, you are in like second or in your penultimate year, still you can consider using this method. This can be useful for lifetime. Now, as you start looking at the subject matter, like you look at, like if you talk about Indian Contract Act, now you open the Bear Act, you look at the subject matter, like this Indian Contract Act talks about what is contract, what is agreement, what is acceptance, what is novation, what is your proposal. So these are various things covered in this Bear Act, and you can look at it. Now you can also look at it before you started reading. You can look at it what chapter 1 talks about. Let's say chapter 1 says that it talking about communication, acceptance and revocation of proposals. Now how much it's covering from section 3 till section 9. Similarly, you can do this with each and every chapter. Then one thing which you keeps in your mind, and you can note it down somewhere in your with your pen and paper if you have, and if you do not have, pause this video, get a pen and paper and note it down. Now what is that? Now, law never repeats any definition or any explanation. Law is always new, I must say. Now, if it now why I am saying so, like if you talk about kidnapping and abduction, they may sound it similar, but they have the difference, and it is mentioned in section 302 to 304 and 304A. All right, so this is mentioned in, I think, CRPC, if I could recollect right. So you can make a difference, even small difference. Even if there is small difference, it does really matters, and it does makes a difference if you are giving your judiciary examination, and even if you are doing anything else. Right, we'll be continuing it. Thank you guys. As I said about kidnapping and abduction, so they both have definite definition and different explanation, which we need to consider whenever we are reading any law or any provision or section. Not only we have to look about the what provision or what section talks about what thing, we also need to look at that how much this provision is covering, that particular section is covering, or what it is talking about, right? Then what we need to look at it, then apart from that, what we need to look at it is your, you can cover these bare acts following this method. Any bare act through your entire law journey in your law school, or even after that, when you graduate, when you become an advocate, or when you are even preparing for judiciary, it's very helpful. And while you become a judge, you need to know difference between each and every small thing, as I have said about the kidnapping and abduction, the example which I have gave. And now I must say that even if you are preparing for judiciary examination, 1 month would be enough to cover all the bare acts which are there in your judicial examination, provided you use this method earlier and you give proper time to understand the concept. Once you have the conceptual clarity, then nobody can stop you, believe you me. I'm repeating it again, nobody can stop you from understanding plus scoring good marks in your academics if you are in law school, and scoring good marks in your judicial examination if you are giving one. And even if you start your litigation, or even if you go corporate, bare acts are there always. Apart from that, what once you start now there are some people who may say that we are from Hindi background and we do not know how to read in English. They understand basic English, but they do not know how to get started, because there are so much legal jargons or some legal words which they have never heard of during their school life, right? So what they should, so what you can do is, currently I am having like two bare acts. The one is like a universal LexisNexis bare act of Indian Contract Act 1872. Now what you can do is you can buy a Diglot edition. Now if you search on the online, since we are at home these days in the pandemic, or even if you can go outside, so you can ask for the bare act in Diglot edition. Now what is Diglot edition? Provided it's written that Diglot edition, English and Hindi. Now once you go through the language of the bare act in English, then in Hindi, then in English, then in Hindi, then you kept on repeating this process, and believe you me, it becomes very very easy, and you will be able to communicate in both the languages fluently. Words are like coming from your mouth, just like you are speaking anything, just like you talk to somebody. So that is the magic of bare act in Diglot edition. And if you are good in English, you have like compulsion of English back at your school, then also you are in advantage. You can directly buy this bare act of in English language, or the common bare acts which come in English language. Then also the thing is easy. So that is how you can master bare act. Follow this method, like the written part, you can even write what I have said. You can write this thing like once or twice, and you can read the bare act multiple times. Like maybe some people read bare acts like in 2 times. They remember all the things. Maybe they remember things like they read things 4 times, they get it in their brain. So it's all depend upon your caliber and how much efforts you are putting in. And this has worked for me, this has worked for various judges, academicians and lawyers I have had a conversation with. So if you try it, just give it a shot, and if it doesn't work for you, I must say it has worked for everyone whomsoever I have shared this, and that's why people have recommended me to share it with others as well. And I think this is the platform where I am sharing it. So yes, if you like the video, then you may consider subscribing the channel, and you may suggest if you like this strategy or not. And yes, anything you are welcome to suggest. Thank you so much for listening.